All right, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Week 1 recap of FPL Quarantine 3. I am joined by Ryan and Teddy.
Yo!
The first match of the evening will be Jackson v. Alex. Now, this was my battle, and I will say that I was totally caught off guard by him not bringing Clefable and by him bringing Zapdos over Moltres. What are your thoughts about the team? Ryan.
Overall, I think the matchup decision for me was that Mammoth should have come. For you, Jackson, I think it just puts a ton of pressure on his team, hitting everything super hard. I would have brought Bandit probably. And I probably would have brought that over Heatran. I don't think Heatran did a ton of work. And was kind of getting easily countered by a lot of stuff on
I agree.
Alex's team. A lot of it comes in for free, with the burn allowing for no toxic, and Garchomp is also forcing it out.
Teddy, what are your thoughts on the toxic Tangrowth and Spadef Zapdos heat?
I gotta this Spadef Zapdos is just that was amazing. That was just something I never I always think of Zapdos as a physically defensive Pokemon, but putting that investment in Spadef to make sure you literally just don't care about about anything Torn can do to you. So being able to shut it down, being able to bring Zapdos in every time, and just is a fantastic. And then the Tangrowth, we were saying with Clefable, we're surprised Clefable didn't come. Clefable's such a put it on any team, it works at any time. I thought it was a given. So him not bringing Clefable was really cool. And Tangrowth just that toxic on Mandibuzz was so awesome. Because being able to anytime you can toxic on as bulky as Mandibuzz takes off so much pressure for you, because now you don't have to worry about it coming in. You can wear it down so quickly.
A timely decision too, as Mandibuzz was bringing taunt, so he needed to hit it on the switch. So
that's also hitting on Alex for just reading that and just getting it off perfectly.
My one regret, I wish in the very end of the game, instead of sacking Slowbro, I had slacked off against the Garchomp. It may have given me a better chance to set up a Swords Dance, avoiding the Toxic from the Tangrowth. So other than that, I think that was a really intense game. It seemed one-sided until Big Rillaboom came in. Ryan, any Pokemon you want to shine a light on in this battle?
I definitely want to point out that Haxorus was a huge threat. Definitely not a lot of counters on the Jackson side of things, barring, even Mandibuzz is taking a ton from an Outrage. So keeping that in the back with sweeping potential the whole game definitely just put a lot of pressure on the battle that I think was able to turn the tide in the end, as you saw.
Yeah. Double Dragons, always a threat, especially if they didn't bring a Fairy type. And Teddy, any Pokemon you want to shout out?
I'm gonna keep praising that Zapdos. It's so good. Oh yeah, all about it. It puts it almost made Torn kind of useless. They could just come in, eat up a hit, roost on it, scare it out with full switch. And it also serves as a fantastic check to Rillaboom. That Rillaboom was scary in the back too. So being able to just bring that in and scare it with static, really puts pressure on it and Torn. So yeah, Zapdos is just great the entire battle.
And my spotlight would just be on Rillaboom. Thank you, Rillaboom, for not making me get swept by or disgraced by toxic Tangrowth.
Plays with heart and loves the game.
Yeah, so thanks for Rillaboom. Get lots of Poke treats. Move on to the next battle. This battle is Teddy and Rowan. So, Teddy, this is your battle. So I'll turn to Ryan first and get your first impressions. What do you think was the key to Teddy's victory here?
I think definitely, right off the bat, Grimmsnarl showed itself as a threat. it's a great mon to have on your team because of its versatility. You never know if it's going to be a utility-based mon or if it's just going to bring that offense. 120 base attack with a stat priority move and Sucker Punch is just a lot to deal with for any team. And, Mew ran into that, learned the hard way, turn 1.
I think we were talking earlier and you mentioned the sub Dragapult. You thought he should have brought sub?
I think he should have brought sub on Dragapult. I think Dragapult could have been a better asset for him in this battle. Toxapex came in and just kind of easily toxicked him, and it seemed almost like he had resigned himself to just clicking Dragon Darts no matter what. And as a result, Teddy was able to stall that down and ultimately eliminate it. Whereas if he had set up a sub, got up a Dragon Dance, I don't know what his other coverage move was, but it definitely had sweeping potential. So I think I would have liked to see that with a lot more pressure.
Now, Teddy, this was a 6-0. Congratulations. Did you feel like the game was tough at all? Did you feel like there was any time in the game?
This is definitely one of those games where the stat line doesn't tell the whole story. Rowan, there were several times where that 6-0 could have ended, and I could have not just won with a +4 or anything. I could have lost. Rowan had a lot of sweeping potential there. There were a couple times when that Dragapult started to Dragon Dance, I was in trouble. I was I don't know what's the rest of the things you can do here. There were at that time in the battle, a lot of my mons were already weakened. He could have taken me out. And then against the other dragon, Como, that Clangorous Soul or whatever it's called, the Omni boosting move,
and the throat spray.
And the throat spray, exactly, and the throat spray. I wasn't expecting that at all. I always see Como as a defensive Pokemon, but it can very easily come in and sweep. So it was tough. I definitely I saw the potential for the 6-0 and tried to I was planning for the battle. All right, I'm trying to get a 6-0 here, but Rowan definitely made me earn the 6-0. You made me earn it.
All right, and now any spotlighted Pokemon you want to do before we go?
I'm not gonna talk about my team. I'm gonna big up his Sylveon. Sylveon is you can never discount how strong that Hyper Voice is, and it always does more than you're expecting it to. And he got a couple of nasty predicts off me with that Psyshock, him doing 60 to Pex. It's a scary mon, and it's just you can run max speed on it, and it's still naturally so bulky. My Rabombi, I was modest on Rabombi, and hitting it with a Moonblast and doing 30. It was all right, this is a problem. So yeah, definitely that Sylveon it's out.
Sweet. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out the Toxapex. Just a gross mon to have on any team. The Regenerator just makes it so viable. You just bring it in for free on so much stuff, and it's just how do you even deal with this? So, really annoying mon. Think it was used, pretty well. No skill involved. Just bring it in and click Toxic, easy. So, what are you gonna do?
I will spotlight the Grimmsnarl. I think there is a tendency on team building to think of it as a dual screen prankster user, but it proved in this battle that it's so much more than that. It's a dark type and a fairy type that can hit like a truck with lots of coverage. So GG's Rowan and Teddy.
Yeah.
Okay, the next battle we'll talk about is the other 6-0, Nico and Can. So right off the bat, it seems like this wasn't a good battle for Nico. Ryan, what do you think are some of the things that contributed to that?
So right away, my first, kind of issue to diagnose here is just the misplaying of Hippowdon. Right away, you look at the matchup, you're looking down the barrel of the gun. Regieleki is on your opposing team. You need a ground type to be healthy to keep this thing at bay. And Hippowdon is it, obviously, if you look at at Nico's team. So, a couple of plays here. He played a little bit recklessly, leaving it in on Zarude, taking a bunch of damage from Power Whip. Not really necessary. There were other switch-ins to make. And another time as well, Omastar, I believe, hit it with a Scald that it didn't really need to take.
Yeah, he like switched it in to cancel the rain.
Yeah, you know,
after it had already shell smashed.
Exactly. So it was admirable to, you know, try and get that rain out of there, but, you know, you got to pick your moments a little better than that. I think it was too much of a threat at that moment to be, you know, sacking your ground type. So, you know, I think just a little more HP management there would have helped him in the long run. So, yeah, I think definitely something to be conscious of when you're dealing with threats like Regieleki, etc.
And so, Teddy, what any thoughts on how he played against the Omastar in particular?
What the Celesteela you had, like he had, sorry, yeah, he didn't have any like enough offensive coverage to like Oko it, like he didn't have Giga Drain or anything. So I feel like he should have tried to like Leech Seed, protect into like Heavy Slam and get like rack up some damage on it instead of switching out, because then you let Omastar be at +2 for free, like after full HP, and that's like the most dangerous thing you could have done.
Yeah, he should have sacked Celesteela and then brought in Rotom instead of bringing in Rotom to take half, and then they both ended up just getting killed by the Omastar. Okay, well, I guess in this game, like, you know, GG, it just was like a really unfortunate matchup. The Rain, the Omastar, the Regieleki, it is as powerful as we thought it might be, clearly. So, any spotlight Pokemon right now?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to say the Omastar proving itself as a threat. You know, this is a Pokemon that has only gotten strong in the very recent history. You know, access to Meteor Beam has definitely put it in a tier, kind of all its well, not all its own, but put it in a tier that it didn't have before. You know, previously was like, I think, RU or something. So yeah, folks, don't sleep on this thing. Power Meteor Beam. It's scary, you know. Gets Shell Smash. It's fast in the rain. This thing can be powerful. So yeah, don't sleep on it.
I'm just gonna bring up Regieleki, because I was one of the people who was really advocating it being allowed in the league. And this is like a textbook example of just like, you know, keep your ground types alive, because if you don't, it'll get 3 kills back. Like before you blink, 3 of your mons are dead, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's a one-trick pony, but like, damn.
Good trick though.
Like,
yeah.
Trick.
I'm gonna spotlight the Pelipper actually, because it seemed like Hippos was putting pressure in the early game with the Stealth Rocks, but Pelipper was essentially able to come in every time in defog, and I think just that utility plus the U-turn initiative was just like enough to make it like pretty much the key player core of that team. Well played by Cam, and Nico, I'm sorry you faced the wrath of Regieleki week 1.
This was a wake-up call for Nico. You know, dust the rust off a little bit, and you know, I have high hopes for him, but you know, gonna have to bring it next week for sure to get that momentum back.
All right, so we'll move on to our last battle, Ryan v Thomas. Now, this is a game that could have been a little closer if Thomas knew how to use Hawlucha, and more specifically, its ability Unburden. What was the mistake that he made?
Unburden gives you doubles your speed once you lose your item, but it only works the turn, like for the time you lost your item, like while you're in. Like you can't switch out and come back in. It only works for like while you're active on the field the first time. So Thomas thought every time you come back in, his Unburden was still active. So how just went as fast as it was. The fact that Lando was kind of like made a non-factor, it didn't really seem to do anything. It wasn't like there to like, it didn't seem as though it was like fully Fizzdeath to check Lulu or Scarf to check Coco. It was kind of there. It was non-factor. Yeah, I think he just and also just the lack of Dracozolt. Like Dracozolt had no impact that game. Whereas if it was Volt Absorb, it could have been used a lot more defensively, just always coming in on Coco and pressuring it, or it being Sand Rush. And I guess like maybe he had that plan and never got to execute it, but Dracozolt could have been there as a defensive check or an an offensive weapon, and it was a non-factor.
Mm-hmm. Ryan, now this was your fight. It was a +3 victory. How did the fight feel for you?
Scarf Landers I thought was a must. Not bringing that, I was able to, just kind of have the opportunity to click Dazzling Gleam with Coco, being never outsped, and just kind of never having to worry about that. I did notice that Hiram was putting a ton of pressure on him. Bit of unfortunate turn one. He obviously forgot about Freeze Dry as a asset for me on Hiram, so I think that was able to put in a ton of pressure. One of the things I was running up against while testing was Corviknight, which he didn't choose to bring, which I think would have been a real asset for him, especially forcing me to go with electric moves on Coco. He could have, again, as we mentioned earlier, had the Volt Absorb Drake as well to put pressure on me, but none of that really came into play. So I think it was an easier battle in the end than it could have been. I think there were just some missed opportunities there.
I think Halucha, on paper, even looking at your team, Halucha kind of rips it apart. I feel like if he had waited until later in the game, it could have actually done all the work it needed to do.
I was terrified about Halucha. And if you take a look at the team, it actually OHKOs everything except for Coco.
Halucha is a 6 sweeper, but it's very much a late game sweeper. You gotta get things weak enough that it can come in. You gotta get things weak enough that it can come in and start clicking moves right away, or you gotta find the matchup where it can set up for free.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was just I need offense now, and brought it in right away, and it wasn't.
I mean, again, he overestimated the power of Unburden, so I think that did play a large factor in the way that he was playing Halucha. Obviously, I think if he had known that, he would have saved it a little longer. But
let's spotlight some Pokemon here. Let's start with you, Teddy.
I'm just gonna. We keep on talking about it, but it's because it was the biggest mistake in the battle. That Halucha, you gotta know your Pokemon's abilities.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very one quick Smogon check away from not being a disaster, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just such a potent threat that it's worth taking care and planning when that is going to have to come out in the battle, because
exactly.
it could have been such a devastation if it had been left till the late part of the game.
I think I want to spotlight Kiram in that battle. I think it just put a ton of offensive pressure. Freeze Dry is an amazing coverage move. I did have Earth Power for the Nihilego, not that I ever chose to go for it, electing to play it safe. As I did always have a Chansey to come in on the Nihilego, giving me a free teleport.
True.
Definitely was a huge asset in terms of momentum for me. So I thought the pair of those definitely allowed me to convert to a victory.
The Bulu did 80% to Tapu Lele.
It did so much.
That's
strong.
It's that thing is insane. It's got it's so strong, and the Horn Leech can recover its HP. Anyway, that's the 4 battles. I have the standings right here. We have Cam and Teddy number 1 because they had a 6-0, followed by Ryan and Alex, and then Jackson, Thomas, Nico, Rowan. So we got 6 more battles to do before the playoffs. And thank you for joining me. Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Teddy.
Anytime.
Thanks for having us.
See you next time.
Hey.